All right, let's start. Welcome to the Sharing and Lending breakout session. I want to preface this discussion by saying that if we are going to reduce waste by owning less stuff, we'll still need to find ways to access things that we need or want. Those items will need to be of better quality and likely more expensive than many of the disposable products we currently own. Creating and using the sharing economy is an essential aspect of waste minimalisation. I'm very pleased to welcome two people from Ōtautahi who lead initiatives that enable people to share resources. Shortly, artist Gaby Montejo and entrepreneur Toby Skilton will introduce themselves and their initiatives. After that, they will be able to answer your questions about sharing and lending in general. So do again pop them into the chat. So I will ask Gaby to kick us off and to telling us about Tool Lendery. Gaby.
Hi, everybody. Tool Lendery. So I used to be a workshop technician at the School of Fine Arts, and I thought it was a great way to push and pull with projects, make things happen, and I would consult with students and teach them health and safety. And when I left the university, I tried a workshop of sorts, a mobile workshop. This was post-earthquake, where we would have tools that are usually sitting in people's garages and not being used, accessible for people. And they just needed space and access to these tools. And then along with that comes the education behind it of how you use a thing and how we can grow from there and realize what you want to do. So the idea of a tool library is not something new. It's been used in San Francisco for years and years, and all over the world there's tool libraries. The idea is to not own a thing, or when it's sitting idle, have it on consignment or have it loaned to people. So Men's Shed does this as well. But about 2 years ago, we got a bit of funding through City Council and then also through Fletcher Living. And that was funneled through Gap Filler to put a 20-foot container on the corner of Cashel and Manchester. And there's about $20,000 worth of tools in there that you now join. Anyone that's a resident in the city can join for free and then book out their tools as you would an Airbnb or something. $5 a week, any tool. So if it's a hammer or if it's a compound miter saw, it's all $5. And so I am there twice a week with another helper. We are paid employees of Gap Filler, and so this is funded. It doesn't really break even, but it is a community service that we're happy to do. And Fletcher Living, which funds it still, is pretty happy about having it there. And that's probably a good place to stop. Erica?
Cool. Thank you, Gaby. Toby,
yeah, sure.
Please unmute yourself. Great. Perfect.
Cool. Where are we? Cool. Yeah, so kia ora everyone. My name is Toby Skilton and I'm the founder of a company called Mutu. So basically we're an online community marketplace and we bring people together to share everyday items that would otherwise be collecting dust or making their way to landfill. So I'm fortunate enough to be one of 7 siblings. The not so fortunate thing about having so many siblings is collectively we own a whole bunch of stuff. We've managed to acquire, I guess, in our family, every bit of sporting gear, tool, bit of gardening equipment, knick-knack, electronic that you could think of. But I then experienced the polar opposite when I studied down in Otago. I went from having everything I could have ever wanted and more to living in a flat where we didn't even own a vacuum, lawnmower, anything like that. But when the lawns got long, we would borrow that lawnmower from the flat 2 doors down. And when the monthly vacuum would take place, we would go across the road and get a vacuum cleaner from there. So I learned pretty quickly that there's a pretty significant problem, not only in New Zealand, but all over the world with our view around ownership. It doesn't make any sense that every single house on the street would have a lawnmower. So we decided to do something about it. So we essentially have created Mutu, which is a way for people to either make money by sharing all of these wonderful things we own and hardly use, as well as being able to save money and save the planet by borrowing things you're only going to use once or twice. So it's all done via an online platform. So we've got a website and a mobile app. It's completely free to use. But it doesn't just stop there. So basically, we've also now created a couple of business offerings, we started to get a huge amount of inbound interest from not only retail brands, but also really large, asset-heavy and quite decentralized organizations like city councils, universities, construction companies. So we've got 2 business products that are being essentially released within probably the next month or so. One allows retail brands to offer a share economy service. So your favorite retail brands like Kathmandu and Mitre 10 and things are going to be able to offer a rental product. So if you don't want to potentially own a new tool, you're thinking about buying something new, you can make a more informed purchasing decision and try it out first. And the second one is for those larger businesses, like I mentioned, to be able to essentially share all the wonderful things they own, either internally or via affiliate networks. So as I said, it's free for the personal level, the consumer one. Anyone can download it. It's just at mutu.co.nz. If the sharing platforms for business are also of interest, I'm happy to connect with anyone and everyone to talk about that. The other thing I thought I would also mention is often one of the main questions are, what do the items get damaged, broken or stolen? So we've put a bunch of precautions in place to keep not only yourselves, but also your items safe when they're being shared with the community. So we've got insurance. It's called the Mutu guarantee. So that protects your items up to the value of $1,500 if they're damaged, broken or stolen. Everyone's verified with ID verification, phone and email. And much like Airbnb or Uber, we also have star ratings and reviews. So I did want to leave you with just a little, hypothetical question to ponder over is, do you really want to own a lawnmower? Or do you just want short grass? And I guess the point of that is, do we actually want to own things, or do we just want the experience or service that thing provides? So both the tool Lendery and Mutu, and there's a heap of other solutions out there that can essentially enable us to get access to those wonderful things without the need to take on ownership. But yeah, incredibly important discussion. Thanks, Erica, and obviously for everyone who's organised this for allowing us to have the conversation, and super keen to answer any questions.
Cool. Thank you, Toby, and thanks again, Gaby. I don't see any questions yet, but please do pop in the chat your questions. I've got a couple here. So my first question to both of you actually is, how can sharing and lending be equitable? Will everyone be able to access the things that they need regardless of money?
Yeah, I can jump in for that one first. I think one of the incredible benefits of both the tool Lendery and Mutu is it enables, to your point, Erica, anyone to get access to things. As Gaby said, for $5, you can essentially get a tool, and we'd like to think most people could get that if it's something they really do need. And the same on Mutu, you've got tools on there for, couple of dollars a day. It all varies. So whatever you put your items on there is completely up to you, the pricing. And I think as well, generally ownership, it does, not everyone is in a position to take on ownership to get the things they need. So being able to just get access to an item when you need it is an incredible opportunity for everyone. And the added bonus is for the planet as well.
It's a good question, Erica, and I've thought, judging by some of the people that arrive at the tool Lendery, some of them don't have funds in the bank and they need to charge up their debit card. We're a cashless organization. There are people on the streets that just need a bike pump to pump up the air in the tires of their bike. You do need to register online. You do need to show proof of address. We have members that are backpackers that are transient. So it doesn't appeal to everyone, but I guess it's tough. I think it's affordable. I think it's accessible. However, there's limitations. If you take our lawnmower, you need a place to charge it up, and you need a place because it's battery powered, and you also need probably a way of transporting as well. So you need a car to come and pick it up. So if there was a larger conversation one time that we get together and revamp things, it would be good to make it more accessible. Perhaps that might mean cash.
Thank you so much. Oh, we've got a question in here. So, are there good places to learn practical repair skills, as it seems there are less common in today's society?
I think that's really important. Gap Filler has been working on a series of workshops, usually on a Saturday afternoon, and it can be upskilling as far as building a raised garden bed, or it can be a shelf There are some handy kitchen tools and tips and tricks that we've been working with. There's kids workshops we do during Kids Fest as well. I think more than anything is the University of YouTube nowadays. You can learn anything you need on a video, and then you just need access to the thing to make it happen.
Thank you. I mean, I'm such a big fan of Mutu and Lendery and Gapfilla's work, but not many people, well, I hope a lot more people know both of your initiatives after this event and hopefully beyond as well. There is another question that I have is, what are some of the barriers we need to overcome to encourage more sharing and lending in general?
Yeah, this is a really big one. I think there's just a very strange view around ownership. I think, if you dial the clock way back, I'm talking sort of all of our ancestors, we lived in these communities where there were no fences. There was probably like one, I'm not sure what the lawnmower may have looked like, but the equivalent back then. And everyone just collectively, I guess, consumed things. So we all had, I guess, this open tool Lendery or some version of Mutu back then. And then I guess it all changed and the fences went up and we sort of shift from these collaborative consumption communities to kind of these hyper consumption communities. So it's less about the we and more about the me. So I think it's just, and I think that is a huge change. I think it is happening and we're probably on the brink of it now where people truly are understanding that there's no need to own everything. It's probably because there wasn't as many opportunities before. Like to now know that potentially you could open up an app on your phone or you could go into town and get access to the thing you need without having to take on ownership. I think the more people that are familiar with the concept and realize that, it's actually quite seamless, it's quite enjoyable, and you're also the benefit it's having for the planet, I think we will see a major shift. But I think it's for the likes of our initiatives, there probably needs to be more. They're talked about more and selling those benefits. So I do think it's just a matter of time and just to keep on educating people that it does really make a massive difference.
Toby's right with that, and I would add to that. Might be a bit of a radical thought, but I think things need to be designed differently since the beginning. There's way too much of the $30 cordless drill kind of design happening, and with this idea that we have of convenience of I don't want to borrow something from a grandfather or from a neighbor or something, so I'm just going to go out and purchase something just to get the job done. And so you can buy a $30 cordless drill from Bunnings and it will crap out on you in 2 to 3 years. It's actually some engineer once told me that they have an operating, they're designed to fail. They're designed with plastic gear so that they have a 6-minute operating time. So if you have pressed the button on one of those cheap drills for 6 minutes, it has done its job. And it's so convenient to just get another one. However, if we were mandated, like I've heard, like Miele and Bosch and some of the German companies are mandated to carry parts for 12 years and guarantee into multi-year warranties for their products, you cannot afford that thing anymore. So the convenience is gone of being able to have it and own it and use it all the time. You must now either pay that price or simply just borrow it, rent it, and find some alternative way of using a high quality product instead of a crappy one.
One really short question before we have to wrap up is, how are your numbers growing in terms of your users?
Yeah, I mean, we've been absolutely blown away by the uptake. Again, we would always love more people to join the Mutu movement, but we've been sort of tripling user growth month on month, which has been awesome to see. There's now about 14,000 people using the platform throughout the country, which is awesome. We hope now that we're introducing these business initiatives that will continue to grow, making it more accessible. But yeah, so it is good. It's a work in progress. Again, we'd love to see more.
With Lendery, it is we don't have a dedicated person to do social media, and I guess that's the name of the game these days, to get people to remind everyone that we're still here. 450 members. We keep it local. Again, it's just Christchurch based.
Ooh, thank you so much. And then there's another question here that's just in general that, yes, these sessions are being recorded, all of the breakout rooms as well. So you'll be able to access all these conversations post-event. So with that in mind, please can we thank Toby and Gaby again, and do put in your details, your website and social into the chat so people can contact you and get in touch.